Hey guys, I don't know what happened today. I am doing this little video at 1:15 on Wednesday the 17th. And what happened at 11 o'clock on maybe 10:55, I tried to get into the Montgomery College website, and for a while that wouldn't load. And then when that did load, Blackboard would not load. And I got messages from a couple of students who had the same problem, and that's why I then sent you out a remind notice saying, let's try at 11:15, but if it doesn't work, let's check announcements. So obviously, if you've gotten here, you know that in announcements, I told you that I would do this video. So this is just essentially in place of having had a class. And of course, nothing substitutes for having a full class, but at least this will give you some indication of what was discussed in the other classes today. And you guys won't be missing a beat or won't be too far behind. So basically what we did was we took that essay that we started reading in the practical argument textbook, Terror's Purse Strings, and it's on page 118 for your reference. And recall that we had started reading it, and we got through most of it, I believe, in your class on Monday. And then we essentially were just going to do another sample. Guys, do remember, you have a full sample for this entire assignment in the packet. Right? And the sample is based on an article about non-traditional students going back to school. And now here we are, we're doing another sample. So basically, this is what you are going to be doing with your particular article. And I'm just going to run through this really quickly because I think you guys all have the idea, especially when it comes to the initial portions of this are pretty straightforward, correct? Obviously, you want a heading, your name, my name. Do make mention of the fact that it's your CRN number and this is a rhetorical analysis report. So I do want that heading in the upper left. And then you just go down the line, guys, and just fill in with your own details. Please, please, please. I know I keep saying this, but it's worth repeating. Do it in either a different color font or either a different font or in a different color, or even both, right? A different font in a different color. Red works well because then I know that's your information, okay? And it's not part of the template itself. So essentially, we just went through the article, and basically what we identified was some items that are directly in the article. In other words, when it comes to evidence and details, yeah, just pull it out from the article. But when it comes to some of these other questions that you're going to have to present answers to, you'll have to figure them out on your own. In other words, she doesn't necessarily tell you what her specific purpose is, but you can certainly figure it out after having read the article, and you just create a statement that claims her purpose, as in she's using this article to expose the darker side of fashion. Okay, purpose is closely aligned with the thesis or the claim, but it's slightly different. Right? The purpose is what does she intend to do? What is she trying to persuade you of? And then the thesis is that claim and that thing that she's stating or persuading. And again, the audience, she doesn't tell you who the audience is, but you can figure that out on your own. In other words, if you're doing the article on plagiarism, the audience would be college students, high school students, college faculty, maybe administrators, maybe even those folks who traffic in essay production websites, that kind of thing. You can get really creative in terms of who your audience for the article might be. But in terms of this one, the subject matter is counterfeit items. So it would be about, okay, consumers who buy those counterfeit items would certainly be interested in this article, as would those people who are producing counterfeit items, as would people who are trying to produce and manufacture and sell the real items, right? They're very interested in this topic. And of course, anybody who might be interested in child labor issues, because that's part of what she talks about. Okay, so those are some of the audience members. Now, the essential question is what should be done, right? She's asking, should something be done to prevent the production of these goods or products or items or merchandise? Okay, another type of question could be, is counterfeiting items a victimless crime? Because she actually asks that within her essay. Okay, so again, some of these are going to be implied and you have to create the statement for them. Okay. The context and background in this particular article, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned before, is all of paragraphs 1 through 5. Now, you don't have to rewrite the paragraphs. You just pull out the salient facts or statistics or examples or instances or phrases that you think are particularly important, right? You want to share what background information she provides. And she tells us that this is increasing, that this happens all over the country, that these items can be found in back alleys and in flea markets, that these items now account for 11% of all goods. That's all background, okay? And then we get into the main arguments. And you might want to substitute the word points here. What are the main points she is making? Main point number 1, counterfeit rackets are often run by crime syndicates, right? And the evidence for that is she says they're involved in drugs, narcotics, prostitution. Argument or point number 2, counterfeiters are often part of terrorist groups, or terrorist groups often profit from counterfeit items sales, right? And then she mentions here Hezbollah, Shiite, and she mentions some logos here. You know, she references experts, she gives statistics, etc. Okay, and then argument or point number 3 is when she gets to that factory in China. So the way you might state that main point is counterfeiters often use child labor. And then the details would be that Guangzhou province factory that she comes upon. Other details there are that the child labor is 8 to 13 years old, etc., etc. Okay, and then here we go. Here's another issue to consider. The opposing argument might not necessarily be stated in your particular article. If your article says something like, opponents disagree with this stance, well, then you know that's an opposing view. But oftentimes the opposition will be much more subtle and it might be placed anywhere in the article. In fact, for this particular topic about the counterfeit items, the opposing argument is really in the beginning, right? And basically, the opposing argument is, hey, what's wrong with me buying counterfeit goods? After all, they're available and they're cheaper. Okay, that's the opposing argument. And her argument is, no, 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 you shouldn't be buying them. So the opposing argument can be stated thusly. Consumers could claim that they think there's nothing wrong with buying these items. They're 1/10 the price of the real thing. They're readily available. But then what's the refutation to that? What is she saying? No, no, no. This is not a victimless crime. If you buy these items, here's what you're doing. You're financing crime and syndicates and terrorists and child labor. Okay? Now, neither class got to the end of doing this Pathos, Ethos, logos, but this is pretty obvious, and there's a little bit of everything in this sample. You may not have all these appeals being utilized in your particular article, but they may be there. And again, you need only point out 1 or 2 instances of each, and only with bullet points. You do not need to rewrite whole segments of the article. Okay, I don't want that. All right, and then very importantly, and obviously we didn't get to this, but you have to write an evaluation paragraph. And just make sure for your evaluation paragraph, ladies and gentlemen, that you aren't simply summarizing what the article says. You are summarizing how that author made the argument about the topic. Okay, there's a distinction there, guys. And if you want to refer back to the sample in the packet, do so. And that's the kind of evaluative paragraph you need to have. True confessions, the paragraph in the packet, the paragraph about the non-traditional college students, that's quite lengthy. Okay, yours does not have to be that long. Keep it to maybe, oh, I don't know, 250 words sounds about right. Okay. You just want to hit on basically what you found. Was point one solid? Was the evidence for point two not as detailed as it should be? Was the refutation strong? Were the opposing arguments hard to find? Was there more than one? What appeal worked best? Okay, those kinds of items, elements is what you need to put into the evaluation. And then essentially your opinion. No need to use first person. I know it's you talking, but essentially you're just saying this was an effective argument. It was well structured. No questions needed to be asked after this was read. This could lead to further discussion about XYZ. The author might have wanted to include A, B, or C to make it stronger. Okay, so I hope that gives you some idea of what we would have done in class today, Wednesday, the 17th. Now, on Friday, I am going to hold open office hours from 12 to 1:30. I'm going to have the waiting room enabled so that, I'll take you guys one-on-one. Maybe you just have one simple question. Maybe you want to chat for 5 minutes or so. So it's going to be sort of an open office hours and first come, first serve kind of thing. That'll be a separate link because I'm doing it through one of my other class links. So I'll post it in announcements for you. All right. So sorry about today. Gee, I hope it wasn't just me, but I did, I submitted a report to IT and I found out that other teachers had similar problems. So apologies for that. And I will see you in class on Friday. We're still a go for the PowerPoint presentation, so don't forget those. All right. See you on Friday.